There's no questioning the iPad and its dominance in the tablet market, but Samsung and its new lineup of Pro tablets looks to change things. This video is brought to you by Kadabi. Find great accessories for all your mobile phones and tablets at kadabi.com. Hey everyone, this is Chad from GadgetGuruHD.com, and in this video we'll be comparing the new Samsung Galaxy TabPRO 8.4 and the iPad Mini with Retina Display. Believe it or not, it was only 4 years back that Apple and Steve Jobs released the groundbreaking and revolutionary iPad. It was the first of its kind and opened up the doors to a whole new market. Now fast forward several years later and we've now moved on to the second iteration of the iPad Mini, but this time in a Retina flavor. Samsung, a successful South Korean company, has had tremendous success across the world using a more is more approach when it comes to offering a great Android product for just about every demographic and person. Its new Galaxy TabPRO 8.4 is set to compete head-to-head against Apple and its iPad Mini with Retina Display. Getting into the physical aspects of this comparison, the iPad Mini Retina features a complete unibody design made solely of aluminum, while the 8.4 is made of the same pleathery material found on Note 3. In my experience, I found that the black variant feels more leathery and the white for some reason had more of a plastic feel. This new backing is far from real leather, but it's certainly a major step up from the cheap plastic Samsung is so well known for. Another thing worthy of mention is the grippiness of the backplate. It makes one-handing the tab much more comfortable and easier. And for that reason alone, I would say multimedia consumption with one hand is much better on the TabPRO 8.4 than the iPad Mini. Samsung has really done a tremendous job with the physique and the overall looks of the 8.4, and it's obvious that they're trying to get away from the old cheap plastic Samsung phones and the bad rap that they had. While the silver band going around the 8.4 isn't anything new, it certainly adds to the device's overall experience. While the iPad is without a doubt more premium than the 8.4, I will say that it isn't really necessary to use a case on it. And this is because of that pleather back. It won't get all scratched up like the iPad Mini Retinas will, and the aluminum backplate that it has there. Now as far as the actual dimensions of each tablet goes, the iPad Mini Retina comes in at 200mm in height and 135 in width. The Galaxy TabPRO measures in at 219mm tall and 129 wide. I'm not going to lie, the actual form factor of the 8.4 has really been stellar. And going back to what I mentioned about the grippy back, it really makes a much better experience when using the tab with one hand. As far as the thickness goes, this really is a huge shot to Apple, as the TabPRO 8.4 is actually only 0.3mm in the iPad, but I'm sure this wasn't a mistake or a coincidence, as you know how Samsung is with being the first to do things and always wanting to one-up Apple and other companies. But in all honesty, the 0.3mm isn't ever going to be noticed, even if you are holding both devices in your hand side by side like myself here. As far as the weight of these guys go, they both do come in at 331 grams, so there is actually no difference at all there. Now moving on to the software portion of this review, the iPad Mini with Retina Display currently runs the latest version of iOS, which is iOS 7. This new operating system really hasn't been enjoyed by a lot of people, but after getting used to it, it isn't really even all that bad. It's a major design overhaul from iOS 6, but the learning curve isn't too steep and you should really be able to catch on in just about no time. Some of my favorite new additions to iOS 7 include Control Center, which allows quick access to your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, flashlight, and more. It's really similar to the pull-down notifications on Android, and it saves time of always pressing the home button and going to the settings. There's also new multitasking, which can still be triggered by double pressing the home button, but now it's more intuitive as you can actually see all the different applications being opened and closed. iOS 7 definitely isn't the perfect operating system, and there's still some polishing up that needs to be done, but there's no questioning that it really is a lot more functional than iOS 6. The Samsung Galaxy TabPRO 8.4 utilizes Samsung's TouchWiz, and that is overlaid over Android 4.4 KitKat. I've never been a huge fan of TouchWiz, and I'm still not the hugest fan now, but something new that TouchWiz has recently introduced and implemented into the TouchWiz operating system is Magazine UX, which is actually powered by Flipboard. Now for those that aren't familiar with Magazine UX, it essentially lets you add new home screens that act like Flipboard, and you can physically choose and add a bunch of different categories and literally swipe through them to find what you're interested in. But of course, you can also add social networks and other news apps to put in there like Facebook or YouTube. It's definitely a cool concept, as it does save you the time of going into an app for your news, and instead you can just go ahead and catch up on your latest sports, business, or technology with just one swipe to the left or right. If you've used the Google Experience Launcher or the Nexus 5, it's kind of like Google Now, how you just swipe to the left and then it's right there. but that really isn't the favorite feature of mine for the TabPRO 8.4. Instead, it's multi-window. And if you're not familiar with multi-window, it's really unfortunate that it isn't a default on every single tablet and smartphone because it is so useful. Multi-window lets you use 2 apps at the same time, or if you're on the Note Pro or one of those higher end devices, it lets you use up to 4. For example, you could actually watch a YouTube video and be taking notes at the same time. It's super convenient and without a doubt my favorite feature on the TabPRO 8.4. And while I'm not usually a huge fan of TouchWiz, this has been a slight step up, and I'm actually excited to see where Samsung goes on to take this. Both of these speakers and just audio in general seems to be pretty lacking on both the TabPRO and the iPad. They're both on the bottom of the tablets, which makes them the perfect place to be located if you're going to want to cover them up, which obviously isn't a good idea. And I'm seriously waiting for another tablet manufacturer to put them on the front, similar to the way HTC and Asus have done them on their HTC One and Asus on the Nexus 10. As far as the displays go, both of these guys are absolutely perfect, and they absolutely nailed it. And when I say perfect, I mean they absolutely blow away the competition. There really aren't any other tablets that can actually compare to these two when it comes to screen quality and clarity. Samsung has tremendously upped its game on the TabPRO 8.4, as it really is one of the best tablets I've ever seen, and it's impossible to see any pixels. Now the reason the screen is so stellar is due to the 2560 by 1600 resolution. This gives this 8.4 inch tablet a pixel density of 359, and to put that number into perspective, the iPad Mini Retina has a 1536 by 2048 display that is 7.9 inches with a pixel density of 324. The screen on the TabPRO 8.4 is honestly just amazing. Picture and video just flies off the screen and colors are just ultra vibrant. While the iPad Mini Retina's display will have a special place in my heart, it's tough not to go with the TabPRO here. As far as pricing and availability, both of these come in at $399, which is a bit expensive for being mid-sized tablets. But like always, the main knock on Apple is expandability. The iPad Mini doesn't have expandable storage while the TabPRO does, so if you do go over the given amount of memory on the iPad, then you really are out of luck. And as far as color options, both of these guys are available in black and white. So Samsung has pretty much filled up its latest flagship, the 8.4, with all the latest goodies in regards to processors, RAM, and whatnot. It specifically uses a 2.3 GHz Snapdragon 800 with 2 GB of RAM. Now, I'm not completely sure why they didn't use 3, because the Note 3 does have 3 GB of RAM, but then again the S5, which was just released, has 2 GB of RAM as well. But honestly, I'm not really going to question this because this guy does run ultra fast. The iPad Mini Retina, on the other hand, does feature Apple's new A7 chip and 1 GB of RAM. Now I found that on the TabPRO, it does have a couple hiccups here and there, but once some of Samsung's features are turned off, it really does run like a champ. It's features like S-Voice and other gimmicky stuff like that really slows it down. But as shown here, both of these tablets are pretty darn smooth and fluid, and there's no questioning that they are two of the most feature-proof tablets on the market because of these great specs, the screen, and all of that. So to summarize, both the TabPRO 8.4 and the iPad Mini Retina are absolutely stellar devices. In this case, you absolutely get what you pay for, as these tablets are simply great and there's no doubting that they are expensive. Honestly, I myself really am torn between the two. I love Android and the TabPRO screen, but at the same time, the iPad Mini Retina is just so quick and responsive, and iOS 7 really is a step up from 6. Let me know down below in the comment section which tablet you'll be picking up and why. And also, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like as well as subscribe. Thanks for watching everyone, and we'll see you all in the next video.